So for a lot of questions on the quiz, I've already corrected them. You were typing in x equals 4, and the program just wants you to type in just the numbers that x can be for the solution set. So it was looking for just 4 here. So I've adjusted your grade. I gave you 1 point here when it had said 0 before. So you got full credit for those questions where I think there was 3 or 4 of them. You wrote x equals the number instead of just typing in the numbers that make up the solution set. So I have adjusted your credit. I wanted to take the chance to quickly run through the things you missed, make sure you understand all of them. For this type of problem, evaluate this algebraic expression for the given value. It just wants you to plug in the value, which is a negative 15, into the equation they give you, which is x squared minus 2x, and then see what number you get back. So if you do negative 15 squared, that's negative 15 times negative 15. So if we do that, you get 225. And then it says to minus 2 times x. So minus 2, and again x is negative 15. So minus 2 times negative 15, it's going to be minus 30. 2 times 15 is 30. Minus a negative 30, because we had a negative 15. So 225 minus the negative 30 gives you 255. For this next one, it's a long paragraph here, but here's the formula for height. The H stands for the height of the football, and T is how much time has elapsed. So you can plug in how much time has gone by and you'll know how high the football is. So when what's the ball's height 4 seconds after it was kicked? So that means T is 4. So if you plug in a 4 for T there, so 3 plus 65 times 4, 4 seconds have gone by, minus, let me back that up, minus 16 times 4 squared. 4 times 4 is going to be 16 here. We'll let the calculator do all that number crunching. You get 7. So when 4 seconds have gone by, the ball is 7 feet in the air. So jump to the second half here. So for this next problem, it says we're going to need to use a proportion. The longer your foot is, the taller you are. That's what it's saying. The height varies directly with the foot length. So the longer your feet are, the taller you are. So let me get a pencil out here and paint. A person whose foot, so we'll put the feet on top and then the height on the bottom. Sorry, my writing's not very neat here in paint. Okay, so a proportion means you need to have a couple ratios set up. So it says that a person whose foot is 10 inches, their height is 67. And then a human-like creature has a foot of 35 inches. So again, we're putting the foot on the top. We don't know what their height is, so we'll put a variable in there, x. And whenever you have a proportion set up like this, two ratios equal to each other, to solve for the unknown value, you can cross multiply. So 10 times x gives you 10x, and that cross multiplication will be equal to that, 35 times 67. What is 35 times 67? 2,345. So to figure out what x is, now you divide both sides by 10, which basically will move the decimal point over one spot. 234.5 is how tall that creature would be in inches. So I think that's why they said it's a human-like creature, because there's no person who's that tall. How many feet is that? 234.5 inches. There's 12 inches in a foot. So a 19-foot person, 19 and a half. So we got some alien human-like creature going on here. Okay. And another proportion is needed for the next one. The gas container, the volume of a gas in a container at a constant temperature varies inversely with the pressure. So a key word there is inversely. The volume is 30 cubic centimeters at a pressure of 12 pounds. Use the proportion to find the pressure when the volume is 43 cubic centimeters. So what's basically happening here, inversely means that when the pressure goes up, the volume of the gas will go down. They'll move in opposite directions, is what the inverse means. As opposed to our last problem where they varied directly. As the foot got longer, the person also got taller. They both moved in the same direction. Longer feet meant taller person. Here, inversely, as the pressure goes up, the volume goes down. They go in opposite directions. So on the first one, the proportion needs to be set up a little different. On the first one, we're going to want to do volume. And so for inverse proportions, you do all of the same type of unit on the first one, and then the other one is pressure. So we'll put all this same, I'll put a PR here for pressure. So when the volume was 30, what was the pressure? 12 pounds. And then you find the pressure when the volume is 43. The pressure is, we don't know. So that's set up a little different. And then you also, when you're solving this, you have to invert one of these. So we'll invert the second one. So what that means is before you do the cross multiply, go ahead and flip. Alright, so now that we've flipped, we've inverted one of them because it's an inverse proportion. Cross multiply just like the last proportion we did to solve for the unknown variable. Okay, so 30 times 12 is 360, x times 43 is 43x. Divide both sides by 43. So 360 divided by 43, 8.37. And that's where they get that answer there. Alright, let's again look at this on paint. One number exceeds another by 11. So we have a number we don't know, and then plus the other number which exceeds it by 11, or is 11 bigger. So the one number, x, could be any number, plus another number that's 11 bigger. And those two, the sum of those two things, so the first number is that plus the second number is that, equals 45. What are the numbers? So now we reduce 2x equals 34 when you subtract 11 from both sides, and then divide by 2, x equals 17. So our first number, x, was 17, and our second number, which is x plus 11 then, or the second number, is going to be 28. So 28 and 17. On this one I gave you half a point back. You should have simplified further. If you answered c plus m plus 4, and then your other fraction was minus z over m. Two fractions there with the same denominator, you can combine those to just get c minus z over m. So I gave you half a point back because you did a lot of it right, you just didn't get all the way simplified. On this one, you have the right thing checked here. You want all numbers x such that x is greater than or equal to -5. So on a graph, that looks like this one right here. -5, and then everything bigger as well. D, which you chose, which was -5, and everything smaller is colored in. We wanted C, which was everything bigger. And 18, when you subtract a 2 from both sides here, you should get 4 is less than just the x in the middle is less than 8. You may have been thinking that, but you wrote your 4 in the wrong spot here in your answer. But that, yeah, you graphed it perfectly here. X is trapped in between 4 and 6, and that's the part that should be colored in.